My loves, finally, as promised in my previous post, here is the new video. And the topic that I'm going to address today is rarely spoken of, but truly plays out highly in the collective psyche of men and women alike. In my personal opinion, it is also one of the main reasons for the suppression and distortion of sexual energy on the planet. The so-called Madonna-Whore complex was first identified by no other than Dr. Sigmund Freud. He analyzed that a lot of men face difficulty in bonding and creating intimate, healthy, and sustainable relationships with women that they can only view as either the Madonna, the saint, the one that's chased after, or the whore, the lover, the promiscuous, sensual woman. This complex is also believed to be one of the main reasons that men cheat, because they tend to settle for comfort and a feeling of safety with a woman that they can trust, also called the Madonna, the saint, but explore their sexual fantasies with the whore, the lover archetype. Freud further claims that these kind of men who tend to settle are also facing issues with maintaining their sexual arousal in such a partnership, because they cannot view their woman as a sexual and erotic being, but they rather see her as someone that they feel comfortable with, that can be a mother and a protector for his children. If we really want to go much deeper down the rabbit hole of this so-called Madonna-Whore complex, we can obviously look at a lot of the biblical texts and mythologies that have supported our subconscious programming in believing that women can only be pure, or they can only be sensual and promiscuous, outspoken and proud in embracing and expressing their sexuality. For many men, this can also be due to their relationship growing up with their mother, because if they have been abandoned or mistreated by their very own mom, the first woman in their life, this is going to be reflected later on in their relationship with women. It is almost needless to say what kind of split this has caused in our society, where our ancestors have celebrated motherhood and sex as a sacred act because they go hand in hand. We have done a great job in dividing it. Believe it or not, this is one of the main reasons women, but also men, come to me, and that's why I had to address this topic, to help you become more aware of how many subconscious beliefs can play out and where they actually stem from, in order to understand them and perhaps dissolve in your own psychological nature. Women who are mothers, who allow themselves to express their sexuality, their erotic nature, who are still full on in their sensuality, get judged very quickly, because mothers are expected to behave a certain way, to act and to look in a certain manner. And if they don't, the first thing that gets questioned is her ability and quality as a mother. And this judgment doesn't necessarily come from their partners, but more so from our culture, and especially from women to other women. Because if motherhood is sacred, then we consider sex as profane, as something dirty. So women who allow themselves to be sexually liberated and who are outspoken about it, who express their desires, who live truly by it, who are confident, and who are also a little bit badass, those are the ones that are rarely seen as wifey material, because they are still considered as wild and untamed, and as a potential threat to a man who won't be able to have her under control. And while this might sound harsh, isn't it truly what is going on subconsciously in our psyche and what we tend to think? In this context, we tend to conveniently forget that without sex, there is no motherhood. And without sexual energy, there is no creation of whatever kind. Most men that I know desire a woman who embodies it all. The saying, a lady on the streets and a freak in the sheets, doesn't come from nowhere. And it's not just referring to physical appearance. Let me go to the mother and lover archetype that women embody, because they are related to the Madonna-Whore complex. The mother and the lover archetype are two of the most profound instincts of us human beings, and in particularly within women, because they relate to our innate nature to procreate and to nurture. And why this is so important in relation as well to men is that the mother archetype in a woman speaks directly to a man's need of being nurtured and taken care of, aka his inner child, versus the lover archetype in a woman directly reflects a man's animal instinct for procreation, but also fulfillment of his sexual desires, meaning the man in him. When I say mother, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to have children, because these are energy types that we have inside of us. Women who are naturally born with the mother and the lover archetype as their predominant energy types, they ooze this earthy, sensual, magnetic, and powerful sensuality. And to give you an example of how this looks like in real life, think down the line of Rachel Weisz, Sofia Vergara, Sophia Loren, Erykah Badu, and Monica Bellucci, amongst others. How can we possibly divide two of the strongest forces in our lives, ladies? We have tried. For centuries, women have tried. And because we have suffered. We have struggled for the sake of being accepted, of being respected as either one or the other, because we couldn't possibly see how we can combine them together and be the whole multidimensional being that we are. Why do you think we admire women who allow themselves to just be themselves? Who don't care about the shame and the judgment that they receive, because they understand that a woman is only complete if she allows herself to combine her sexual nature with her maternal instincts. Again, whether you are a mother or not, it doesn't matter. The act of nurturing is in all of us. The first thing as a woman that you gotta do is really identify whether you yourself fell into the so-called Madonna-Whore trap. Where in your life are you seeking more approval than self-expression? Where in your life are you seeking more acceptance than sexual liberation? In my work, I see it all the time. I cannot even start to tell you the amount of guilt, shame, and pain that women carry within themselves, either through their ancestral lineage, through their upbringing, or simply bad experiences, but more so through the suppression and the feeling of unworthiness for who they really are. We all talk about society. But the truth is, we are all the building blocks of a society. In order to start to change the narrative that has binded us for such a long time, we need to start to really look inside and be honest with ourselves as men and women respectively. Step number one is really looking inside of you and checking your belief system, checking your trigger points, and checking where in your life are you holding yourself back. Who is stopping you other than you? People will always judge. People will always have an opinion. And judgment usually is an apathic reaction from someone who plays out their own emotional wound about something, but plays the victim card in order to manipulate their environment and feeling better about themselves. People will always talk, let them talk. By you allowing yourself to really be free, whatever it means for you, you give others the permission to do the same. You cannot begin to imagine how incredibly powerful that is. You don't have to become Madonna, and I'm talking about the singer now, nor a porn star to prove that you're sexually liberated. Neither do you have to play the Mother Teresa card in order to be really accepted. You have to find your own balance and what it would look like if you combine your own erotic nature with your nurturing instincts. And for you fellas and gentlemen, if you desire a woman that embodies it all, because I know deep down most of you do, then you also have to check in with your own limitations, your own perceptions and judgments. Some men tend to use the Madonna-Whore complex subconsciously as a joker card in justifying why they're doing certain things and why they're marrying a certain type of woman, whereas sleeping with another. In reality, though, it requires a complete man within and a strong man, a courageous man, who can handle and truly take in a woman who is in her most powerful self, because only such a woman can truly give you everything you want, if that is what you desire. Sending you all so much love. Mwah.